Yomi Okebe, people know me as Ashiwaju. I want to encourage you to subscribe to DAMA TV on YouTube and ensure you watch the videos, tell others about it, and let's propagate our own DAMA TV. Keep watching.
Good afternoon, viewers at home. You are welcome to a special program that is well known all over the world, Big Issue. Today, we shall be discussing on APC parallel running of their Congress. But before I go forward, I would like to welcome our guest. He's a friend of the house, Mr. Dare Enimola, a senior correspondent with the Dare Independence newspaper. You are welcome to our meeting.
Yes, thank you, my brother, my friend, presenter, and the viewers at home. Yeah, like I said, I'm Mr. Dare Enimola from Daily Independent newspapers. I corresponded with that. Thank you for being here, for bringing me here.
Recently, APC concluded their state congress, and it was marred with different issues. With some states have two congresses together, while few states have even experienced a sort of bloodbath. What do you think could have caused or the reason behind this very problem?
Well, thank you very much. I'm not a party man to APC and may not be able to give you very detailed explanations as to the inner workings of these parties. But as a media person and someone who is keen and a keen observer who monitors political activities in the country, I may be able to say one or two things. You see, Ogun State is peculiar among all the APC states as far as I'm concerned. You remember Ogun State was once a PDP state, and during its PDP days, the governor did his best to entrench the party within the state. And you also remember that the president of this country, who is a PDP president, was also from Ogun State. So you can imagine the influence he could wield or he must have mustered on the state. So going by that, you find out that Ogun State is not a wholly APC state. It's not a wholly APC state. Blessed memory, this man that died from Ogun State, this Jebu man, the popular, not Dipodino, the one that was a senator, Guruji Kashamu, was a PDP senatorial candidate and was a PDP man, and he also wielded a very strong influence on the state. So going by that, you find out that PDP has a very strong leaning in this state. And if you look at it or deduce it from that perspective, APC cannot fully say they are in control of the state. Having said that, this will go in a way to influence or have an influence on the rulership of APC, meaning that PDP's hold on the state is on one side. I remember when Senator Ibikule Amosun was leaving the state, living as a governor, he defected from the APC, and he raised another party, APM, led by their governorship candidate, Mr. Kilade, and he instructed the electorate to vote the APM as governor, whilst they should vote APC for presidency. So ordinarily, the state is divided along these lines. And if the state is divided along the line of PDP, along the line of APM, we have a residual number of people in APC. So that's a precursor to the crisis that we are talking about. So having that behind the background, you find that APC will surely have problem when they are having their Congress. Because the APM guys are supposedly APC members, but they are faction, and they are very strong faction for that matter. So when the primaries came, we have two very strong factions in the APC of Ogun State. the one led by the incumbent governor, President Abiodun, and the one led by the defunct governor, Senator Ebikule Amosun, who also want to assert their position and will want to also recoup their gains after maybe the first time of this sitting governor. So I believe this must have been the reason why we have a very strong ripples or diversionary congress in APC or in the state. Like I said, APC is not fully in control, and based on some of these inner wranglings, of course, there will be parallel congress.
Yeah, what you just said now, you are simply saying that by the time the APC will be having their national congress, there will not be any peaceful kind of organization or election taking place during the national conference. Or what are you trying to say?
Well, like I've said, Ogun State being a model for us to look at. We also have parallel congresses in other several states across the country. In Lagos, we have parallel congress. In Osun State, we had. In Kwara State, we had. In Kano, we had. In Delta, we had. In some other key states where APC is supposed to be in control, we had parallel congress. In fact, according to what I heard, they had about parallel congress in about 20 or thereabout states. They had even in Rivers, Cross River, where the governor just decamped to APC. So, based on this, for me, I foresee that when APC will be having its national congress, it will be a showdown. It will be a showdown. I didn't see a situation whereby they will have a seamless national congress for me, because there are so much dissenting voices already in the politics, in the system. And you know that quite a number of the members are also saying that the national body, that is the caretaker committee, is not competent enough to even organize a national conference or a national convention, because the constitution of the party does not recognize a caretaker committee. So, based on this, some people will be looking around to want to maybe throw spanner in the wheel of the progress of the party, saying, look, legally speaking, people have no power to organize any convention, and they will go to court. And I can tell you, if the court will give verdicts in accordance to the constitution of the party, there will be no trouble for them.
So, invariably, are we saying there is likelihood for another party emerging from APC, just like what happened before the 2015 election?
Well, in politics, there's nothing that is impossible, but I'm not going to give any categorical statement, or am I going to make any assertive statement in that regard. But from the grapevine, you find out that even apart from APC, there are a lot of dissenting voices here and there, and people are clamoring for a third force. And a third force, from what I deduce, is those who have issues in the PDP, those who have issues in APC, they want to come together and form an alternative arrangement that maybe could counter some of these irregularities existing in this party and some of these subversive and overbearing tendencies of the leaders of the two political parties. So I'm not going to restrict my argument for a supplementary or a contrary party from the APC angle alone, because if those who are going to leave APC, those who are aggrieved members of APC, I don't think they can be able to stand to fight the might of APC alone. So it's going to be a combination of those who are aggrieved in APC, aggrieved in PDP, who may want to come and say, okay, let's form an alternative arrangement. So APC, yes, there could be aggrieved members who may want to leave, but they cannot on their own want to go and start a party and believe they can succeed doing that.
Wow. And yeah, thanks for that very open-mindedness in your opinion. But at the same time, if you look at the Constitution Committee, a lot of issues is going on. People were saying that they are not even competent enough to order for the Congress to have taken place initially. And do we foresee any sort of court issues springing up left and right? Or what do you think?
Like I've said earlier on, that legally speaking, as it is standing today, APC does not have a legalized what they call regulatory body, or what they call the national executive. They are not legalized. There's no statutory regulatory body. There's no statutory executive body, sorry to say. They don't have a statutory executive body in place. You remember that the Oshomola-led executive body, which was legally elected, duly, had been pulled down, as in it has been suspended. And having been suspended, they constituted a caretaker committee, which is not constitutionally recognized. And because they are not constitutionally recognized, they don't have that power to organize conventions or to organize primaries that will elect people into various offices. In which case you find out that there is a substituting court judgment in Delta State, in Delta case. In Delta case, because of the caretaker committee, the judge says the caretaker committee in Delta has no power to organize any executive election. They are not being recognized by the Constitution. So if they have those they have elected to man the Delta State affairs of APC are considered to be illegal. And now if you look at that, that will be a reference. That will be what they call precedence in law. Now this precedence can be translated into the national space and say, look, with this precedence, the caretaker committee was in Delta State, and the judge says no. According to Constitution, you are not empowered to organize anything, appoint any statutory executive body. So also in the national space too, you cannot do that, because this is a preceding case that we can make reference to. So in this particular case too, the statutory executive body in APC in the national, led by Buni, the governor of Yobe State, could be contested in court, and at the end of the day, they may find it very difficult to stand.
Now, but as the president is supposed to be the head of the party now, he has, I think by now, he should be able to make a stand. This is what should take place. But President Buhari is not even saying the words. And how can we say the silence is meant for?
Well, the president is more or less, he's not the decision maker. He can only call them to order. But you also know, with the style of Buhari, in his leadership style, his leadership is one particular way he leads. He is more of a docile person. He's not that very, very assertive. And so maybe that could have translated into what is going on in APC and why he's also not too very active in calling them to order. Or you may even say he's behind what is really.
No, sir.
So you can see from the way he has been ruling the country, he's not a very assertive person. He's not someone that puts his feet down to establish certain things. So I think that is the same thing playing out in this party issue. And also I think maybe he's pleased with the way the Buni-led caretaker committee, maybe they're doing his bidding, maybe they're being very loyal to him. At least his interest can be protected and do what he feels he wants to do. Maybe that's the reason why he's not asserting anything or saying anything, or is not enforcing anything. So from my own perspective, there's something behind the scene. But legally speaking, the Buni-led caretaker committee is not legally recognized, it's not constitutionally acceptable from general understanding of how party works.
The speculation going on now is going on in APC-led government and party hierarchy has to do with the advent, the coming in of BAT, that is Tinubu. What factor do you think Tinubu is playing on this very issue?
Well, political permutations made us to understand that, yes, you remember that Tinubu is supposed to be the national leader of APC, and the quest for him to become Nigeria's president is very rife. It's not unknown to many, and definitely you can't expect everybody to want to follow after him. Of course, he will have his own enemies, he may have his own supporters of that quest. And you can imagine his humongous influence over the party. Of course, some people felt threatened, opposed to his quest to become, even though he has not come out to announce that he wants to be president, but the body language, according to permutation, according to political watchers, is that he may likely want to be president. And of course, those who are opposed to this will not want it to be. And they would like to throw wheels into the wheel of progress and throw spanners into his wheel of progress. And that will cause some of the rancors we are seeing today, inner wranglings. You can't. I think for me, if Tinubu wants to be president, it will unsettle certain set of people. Because there's no man that wins, there's no winner that takes all. So for me, yes, it may be part of the reasons why we are having the challenges or troubles that APC is seeing today. Unlike some of the things that we itemized concerning Ogun State, which also internal interest, personal interest, or some of the governors. At the national level, of course, Tinubu's, if he has the desire to be president, it's not everybody in APC that may want to work with him. And so those who don't want to work with him may always want to jeopardize or want to scuttle every positive step he wants to make. And that will lead definitely to crisis, lead to parallel congresses, lead to inner manipulations and fightings and all these kind of things that we are seeing playing out.
Leader for APC should have one or two roles to play, at least to subdue all this unnecessary pressure and havoc going on among the APC. What is your take on this?
Well, Tinubu may not, though he may be a national leader, but from what we have gathered, people, if he wants to make any step in this case, people may see him as being a judge in his own case. They believe that he has a personal interest. And if you allow him to wade in on issues, he will play in such a way that it will favor him.
But he has not declared being president.
He has not, but like I said, keen watchers, from all his body language, from all his, those who may have at least spoken with him in the secret, those who may want to, who may know some of the things he desires, may have, sometimes there's an amount of truth. So this could be some of the reasons why some people say, no, though he's our national leader, but there's a limit to which we can allow him to come and judge in this matter or say in this matter. Because people know Oshiomhole that was dethroned or was relieved, he was the force behind his enthronement as the chairman of the party. And people have also permutated that he made Oshiomhole to be there in not what he made him to become the governor of Edo State. And that they have put structures in place that will favor him at the primaries, National Convention primaries. And the part of the reason why Oshiomhole was kicked out was because they don't want Tinubu's hedge plans to succeed. So if that has been the case, you can't also expect them to now say, come and tell us what to do. Because if they ask him to come and tell them who is working for me. So thank you very much.
So, to round it up, what's the way forward for APC?
Well, for me, the way forward is for them to carry out a constituted national election where the national executive body, a statutory executive body should be put in place.
And with this old election?
No, what I mean is that they should elect new members for the ESCO. which I think the convention is not trying to address. The convention they are trying to raise, for me, appears that they want to begin to pander, they want to, well, I don't know what the convention is all about, but they should organize a convention that will elect credible party members as their national school. You understand what I'm saying? The use of a caretaker committee led by Buni. They should elect a statutory executive body that will run the affairs of the party. And they should be seen to be fair in the way and manner they conduct the national convention. I think from there, if that is put in place, from there they can begin to elucidate the confidence of their members.
Yeah. Whatever happens months to this time, or latest a year, there should be a tangible conclusion to whatever might have taken place in APC. We are running up now, but once again, I would like to give a special gratitude to our special guest and our friend, the friend of the house, person of Mr. Dare Enimola. A very big thank you to you, and I say cheers till we see you next week.